If you've been confused about the phrase time doesn't exist or time is an illusion, this video is going to give you an entirely new perspective on time. Just the other day, I was out in the sun. Past few days, actually, I started just downloading this amazing information about the truth of time and what it is and how we can think of it as both a linear timeline, and then on the other hand, we say, well, time doesn't really exist. It kind of it's like going through mental gymnastics trying to understand this concept, right? It's very, very expansive. Well, the download that I got kind of breaks it down in a way that you as a human, we as human beings in our logical brain can understand it. And it leans into quantum physics a little bit. Now, I am not a physicist. I'm not a scientist. I just happen to be able to download this data and communicate it in a way so that you could better understand it. So if you've been scratching your head about that, trying to figure out, well, my past, my future, none of that exists. Why do I have memories of a past? How come I can't see my future? All of those questions are going to be answered in this video. Now, these are expansive topics, and I'm going to stretch your mind and stretch your consciousness in a way that is going to create space and allow you to start to integrate this information. So I'm going to, because it's new to me, I'm going to do the best that I can in this video to lay out these concepts for you in a way that I currently understand it. Now, I'm in the process of integrating this information now because it's so new to me. So this is going to evolve, and this is something that I'm going to talk about more in my New You program and go really deep into it, as well as my Starseed Ambassador Tribe. We're going to touch on that this week in the session that we have for that, the group session. So these are amazing concepts. Now, we as human beings, we live in this dimension which is governed by physics and time and space, and we have a past and we don't have a future yet. At least that's how we have been taught, right? How do you know we have a past? How do we know we have a past? Well, we have memories of the past, right? So if there are memories of the past, that must have happened. Oh, but wait, you hear in the spiritual communities that time really doesn't exist. So if time doesn't exist, how the heck can we have a past and not be able to see the future, right? It gets into this mental gymnastics, and it's a really hard concept because from your perspective, you have memories, so therefore you feel validated like you did have a past. But I'm going to tell you that none of that is real. I remember when my dad, before he passed away, he said to me, he was in the memory care facility, he said, Mark, none of this is real. And you know what, Dad? You were absolutely right. I knew it then, but now I'm getting to understand it a little bit more from this information that I've been receiving. So if you are ready to dive in and ride with me for the next few minutes on this, I'm going to drop in some concepts, and you may need to watch this video multiple times. Maybe you watch it a couple times now and maybe tune back into it a week or two later. You're going to start to understand things from a more expanded perspective, because you need to give this information time to land and time to process in your body, because we're working with old, outdated information that says we live in a timeline, okay? And we do not. We live in the now moment. So we're going to dive into it. I'm going to give you a visual representation of what's happening, and we're going to just start with this, and we're going to see where it lands, where it leads. So I drew this up. So basically, this is your timeline, right? So you, as a soul, you descend into this dimensional field, right? We come down in the present moment. We know everything is a present moment. When we land here on Earth, our energy kind of bounces off the earth and it moves back up through our body. But when it does that, it gets stuck. It gets stuck. It starts to vibrate more slowly in the lower chakras. And when that happens, we start to experience a timeline. We have a past and we have a future, but we can't see the future, but we could see the past. But how could there have been a past if we're living in the present moment? So as your energy slows down, as it's coming back up through your body, remember you've descended down, you've compressed your light into this body, you've anchored into the planet, then the energy starts moving up back through your body and it gets stuck in the lower chakras. what happens is that energy slows down. It's vibrating really, really slowly. Think about the red carpet. Okay, so when you land here and your energy slows down, you start to vibrate more slowly. You anchor yourself into a reality that makes you think that we have a past and we have a future. And when that happens, what happens is both the past and the future kind of get created simultaneous. Now, the interesting thing is because the energy slows down and vibrates more slowly and gets stuck in the lower chakras, we essentially face the past. We're looking into the past. That is the only part of our experience that we know exists. Okay, so that's a function of landing here, descending, and your energy getting stuck in the lower chakras. You can't see the future because your back is turned to it. You land and you're looking to the past. Now, the past is something that you are creating in the moment. Okay, so it didn't really happen, it didn't really exist, but based on your energy getting stuck in your lower chakras, it's kind of like a red carpet unfolded, and you get to see this record of the descension process or the slowing down of your energy, the lower vibrating energy manifest across a timeline that is appearing as a function of this dimensional field. Okay, so you create experiences we call as a past based on how your energy got stuck. So if you've had a rocky past, you've got some really dense energetic blockages when your soul's energy is attempting to ground and anchor into this dimensional field, and it appears as a past. Now, because of the trauma of that density in this body, it manifests across a past as specific stories or specific traumas. Okay, so you're facing the past. And we always ask ourselves, well, why do I have a record of the past and not the future? That's because think of it as though your back is turned to the future because of the dissension process and the traumatic slowing down of the energy. The past is what's manifested. Okay, so you're looking at the past, you're not aware of the future, and we're going to get to that later. Okay, so from the present moment, think of your energy coming down, it's coming down, and it's just flowing here into the past, right? It's creating a past as you land, as you descend and anchor into this reality. So that's the part of this experience that you're conscious of, that you know. The rest of it is unconscious. Now, that past is unfolding, that red carpet's unfolding based on the energetic blockages within your body, right? So your body is essentially creating that past. And you could have all sorts of events, all sorts of stories, all sorts of things happening along that past part of the timeline that really never really happened. It's just a creation to manifest or experience the energetic blockages from the energy that's stuck in your lower chakras. Okay, so if enough energy gets stuck in the lower chakras, which is what happens when we descend into this dimensional field, you cut yourself off from the future. You don't even know it's there, right? You can't see it, you can't perceive it, you have no clue as to what that future is. But if time doesn't exist, then the future and the past really are all coming out of the present moment, right? So from this perspective, we should be able to experience past events and we should be able to experience future events because everything's happening in the now. Okay, does that make sense? It's a little bit of a mind bender. It's like time doesn't exist, but yet time exists. In this dimensional field, we have an experience of time. Okay, so hopefully that clears it up a little bit. We have an experience of time, but time doesn't exist. So if we are experiencing time, you can't have a past without having a future. Well, if I know the past, why don't I know the future? That's because the energy is stuck. Your energy, your higher self, your soul's energy, descending into this body, a lot of it's stuck in the lower chakras, and essentially you are looking into the past, okay? You're not aware of the future. So that begs the question, how do we become aware of the future? Well, that's where the energy work and the raising the vibration helps you to move up on the vibrational scale. And when you do that, you start to be able to pull away from the past. Okay? You stop creating a future based on the past, and you start creating a future consciously, meaning you get more anchored, more present, you turn your back away from the past, more towards center, and now you have an idea of the past, an idea of the future. And now you're kind of seeing the landscape so much differently, okay? You're not limited to the lower chakras. You get up into the heart space, and all of a sudden, you start to be able to create or see infinite potential timelines that you could choose to experience going forward. You're no longer focused on the past. What happens when you're only focused on the past? When your energy's stuck in the lower chakras and you're only focused on the past, you experience a future that is based on that past, right? So you're kind of like walking backwards because you're facing the past and you're moving forward in this experience of time, and you keep manifesting the same types of events in the same types of experiences. Now, when you start to raise your vibration, you start to be able to pull all of that together, and you start to become more of who you are, which is this infinite being of light that resides in the present moment. So you become conscious. You start to be aware of the present, the past, and the future. Now you become a co-creator or a participant in creating that movement forward through the experience of time that is in alignment with your higher chakras, okay? You bridge that gap, right? You take that leap, you take that flash from the solar plexus to the heart space, and now all of a sudden you are turning away from the past, you're more centered, and you're more open, and you're seeing the entire experience, and you start to consciously co-create your future, meaning your experience here of being on a timeline. Now, does that really exist? No, okay? But you are experiencing a reality in this dimensional field as though there was one, okay? So it's imaginary, right? Now, when that happens, you start to realize that, hey, you know what? There's so much I can do. So meaning that if there's an infinite number of futures that I can move forward to, there had to have been an infinite number of pasts, right? You can't have one without the other. So that leads into a concept of what is the past, right? If there really is no past, did you experience the events that your memory says you did? And from a quantum perspective, I guess they really didn't happen, right? So we come back to this, and when you land here, you come down into this space, and the red carpet rolls out, and these are experiences that become your memory, right? Instantaneously. It's happening every moment. Your memory is being created based on the energetic wobbles within your lower chakras. How much energy is stuck there? That's creating your past in the moment. Now, if we have the ability to create our future, then we have the ability to modify our past, right? The interesting thing is, what I received is when we modify our past, most of the time we are not even aware of it. We can shift timelines that have completely different pasts, but yet in the moment we feel like we've actually lived it. That's part of the experience. Again, remember, it's not real. You are making this up in the moment. The past, the future, it's all being created simultaneously, right? When you're focused on the past, you're creating the future experience based on those traumas because that's where your perspective is. When you raise your vibration, you start to become conscious and you start to be able to co-create. Now, when you change a future timeline, you change the past as well. Have you ever had deja vu? Have you ever had like the Mandela effect, right? These are bleed-throughs or glimpses of a different past experience, okay? Did you really experience it? Well, not really, but it was created for you based on your energetic makeup, how much energy was stuck in your lower chakras. That determines the past. Okay, once we get up into the higher chakras, now we're in the future. Okay, so as you start to heal, you could actually change your past. You may not even know it, but that red carpet, it's like, think of the red carpet. When I said you land here, the red carpet goes out, that's your past. It's like picking it up and going like this, and it sends a wave or a ripple through the red carpet. That's like changing your past. We could call that energetic healing, shadow work, all sorts of different things, whatever it is, but it's all happening in the moment. Okay, so we're constantly creating, coming down, past and future, past and future, past and future, when we're focused only on the past because we're in that denser energy. We are ignoring the potential futures. Now, remember, years ago, I did a video for my Pleiadian guide, how she told me that essentially they're like our future selves, right? And she explained to me that from this perspective, we see them as being from the future. So if we're on a timeline, it's like, okay, we're here in the present, they're here. And she told me, take your arm and lift it up, right? So this is the future, and I go like this. Now we're at like 5D, 6D, 7D. Here is where we are, right? So by raising your vibration, what happens is you get to essentially start to be able to see the time experience in its, I'm using a lot of air quotes today, right? The time experience in its totality. Okay, you get to be able to see the past, you get to be able to see the future, and the more conscious you become, meaning the more you ground, the more you integrate, the more you free up your stuck energy from your lower chakras, the more it gets up into the heart, and then it shoots up here, the more of a total experience you could have, meaning you can co-create your future, change your future. You could pick from unlimited potentials, unlimited opportunities. But remember what I said earlier, if there are unlimited potentials for the future, there were unlimited potentials from the past. Remember the Mandela effect, deja vu. Those are instances of bleed-throughs from these previous timelines. You may not remember living or having that experience, but you did at a different frequency level, and it's available to you. And some of those are loud enough that they bleed through, and you start scratching your head going, boy, where do I know that person from, right? So that's sending those ripples along that red carpet of the past. Okay, so the more you choose to be unconscious and not work through your trauma, not work through the energetic effects of the stuck energy in the lower chakras, the more you're going to be living from the past. Okay, you're going to be living from here. Okay, you're going to be facing that, and you're not even going to be aware of what's going on here or what opportunities there are for you. Okay, so when you start to energetically get centered and free up that stuck energy, you move to the center, and all of a sudden, future experience opens up for you, and you become that conscious co-creator. So basically, this is continuing to land for me. I'm going to continue to integrate this and probably have new perspectives and deeper perspectives on this as we go along. Like I said, in A New You, and even in my Starseed Ambassador Tribe, I want to dive into this concept because, you know, you can't say, well, there's time, and then on the other hand say, well, there is no time, time doesn't exist, right? So this information kind of bridges that gap, pulls it all together, and turns time really into an experience and how it manifests. But the important thing to remember is not only are there infinite futures, there are infinite pasts, and how you tie in or tap into those is based on your energetic makeup. How much of you, your soul's energy, is able to ground and integrate into this body and get up past the solar plexus into the heart space. Because when it's stuck in the lower chakras, it's going to simultaneously create a past that's filled with trauma. It's going to be things that you need to examine and heal and feel, right? And the healing and the feeling part is what gets that energy moving, okay? So it's the energy stuckness that's the cause of the past that creates the past. Okay? And if you're not aware of that, unconsciously it creates your future. So when you start to get your energy moving, your past changes. You start to see things differently from a higher perspective, and events that maybe you had a moment ago in your past don't exist right now, and you have no memory of it because you've sent a ripple down that thread, down that red carpet, and completely changed it. The brain needs continuity, so it doesn't necessarily know or it's not aware of those changes, right? But you may feel like you have a memory of a life that in fact moments ago you really never lived, right? The one from moments ago may have been very, very different, but you're not aware of it because the brain puts continuity together to make sense of the experience in this reality. But remember, deja vu, Mandela effect, those types of things start to bleed through. So when you get present, you start to look at the totality of everything, the past, the future experience. You start to become a co-creator, meaning not only can you create your future, but you can actually change your past. And it's a completely wild concept. I'm not a quantum physicist. Is that something that from our current level of understanding or consciousness is even possible within quantum physics? I don't know, but I know that time really doesn't exist. My dad, shared that with me, and it's been validated many, many times through my connection with my guides. This is just an experience. And if time doesn't exist, how do I have a past, right? And how can I not see my future? Well, it's all available to you for you to choose. You have full control. That's how powerful you are. You not only have full control, we always hear people say, you have full control over your future. You also have full control over your past, right? And that is really the limiting beliefs that keep that power locked away from you. It keeps that energy stuck in the lower chakras, thinking that you're helpless, that you can't change things. You can do whatever the heck you want. You just need to realize that none of it's real. It's just purely an experience you're having. And are you going to choose to stay focused on the past? Or are you going to start to turn away and start to realize that there is a future just waiting for you to create? You just gotta get that energy moving, get it up into the heart, and it shoots up here, and all of a sudden you have all of your controls, manifestation, healing, all of the connection with your guides. It all is available for you in any given moment. If you're interested in learning more about my New You program, there is a link in the description for a free masterclass. I'll dive in there. I'll tell you all about it. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much.